Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Baby Cairo, say hi. How are you? How is everybody? Today we're going to be filming my labor and delivery horror story. I know in the vlog it might look like things were like going well, smooth sailing, and things were just fine. They were not. The thing about vlogs is like you can edit them. Like you can make it seem like something is like going great and everything is exactly how you planned it, or you know, you're just rolling with the punches. That was not me. Like, please don't be deceived. So let's get into it. So my due date was March 8th. I gave birth on March 8th. Leading up to my due date, I had doctor's appointments every week. They were weekly for like about a month. So on my last appointment, which was a week from my due date, I had not dilated before coming in. Like from the last appointment, I wasn't dilated yet. The last appointment that I had though, she checked and I was about 1 centimeter dilated, which is like nothing. She assured me like sometimes you don't dilate until you're like in labor, like active labor. But you know, I wanted to be dilating already because like I had already read like how that goes. Let me put some like chapstick on because I feel like my lips are really ashy. My lips are ashy? That's what you were saying? Okay, so she tells me like sometimes you don't start dilating until you're in labor. So it's like, okay, like hopefully I keep dilating throughout the week, and then by the time he's ready to come, like it just slip out. It did not go like that. My water broke maybe 9 a.m.-ish. Yeah, around 9 a.m. and I had been having contractions from like the night before and days before, but more spaced out. Right before my water broke, I had already knew like today is the day. Well, it was the next day, but I knew my water was breaking. So my water broke at 9 a.m. My boyfriend and I rushed to the hospital. Okay, you want to eat? We do this while filming. Let's see. We rushed to the hospital. I was 1 centimeter dilated when they checked. Then they checked for like how much water I still had inside my uterus. So it was a lot of water left. So she told me like, okay, so what probably happened is you're just like leaking. Leaking is like, you know, your water didn't break. Not enough to be admitted. So if I wanted to go home, I could have, but if I wanted to stay, like I had to take Pitocin. I decided to just go ahead and get the Pitocin. I had gone into all of this like saying like, oh my gosh, I want a natural labor and delivery. And you know, birth plans, if you make one, please do not think that that's like Bible. It's not, honey. Anything can happen. You really don't know how your body's gonna react to it unless you've been through it before, and even then, like, you don't know how your body changes. So they administered Pitocin, and like before the Pitocin I wasn't getting any contractions. Like from the point where my water broke up until then, I had no contractions. After they gave me the Pitocin, they admitted me, put me in my hospital room, and every like I want to say 2 hours or something like that, they like upped the dosage of it. So they were upping the dosage of the Pitocin. Like I was handling the contractions until the nighttime came. That was when it got hard. How am I gonna do this with these contractions coming like as often as they are? Like it hurts so bad and it's so frequent. And they're coming back in to check my cervix and see how much I'm dilated, like every like 4 hours or something, because I was in labor for 24 hours. They checked it. Still, I was like maybe 2 centimeters dilated like 12 hours after they gave me the Pitocin, which was like, oh my god, ridiculous. My doctor told me that like, you know, if you're not at least like 6 or 8 centimeters dilated by the time 24 hours hits, which is the next day at like 12 o'clock, then we're just gonna have to do the C-section because, you know, you can't be in labor for that long. That made me really sad and I cried a lot. Don't let my vlog fool you. I cried. All night I was like contracting and everything like that, to the point where I was like shaking. It was so much pain. Like the early morning hours, I was just like, I cannot do it. I told my boyfriend, I was like, I have to get the epidural. Like I need it. So the doctors came in, gave me my epidural. I was shaking. I was so scared. Because, you know, I didn't do that much research on the epidural because I had in my mind, like, no, I'm going to give birth naturally. Like, once it was done, it was done. Like, it didn't hurt that bad, really. It made my contractions, like, not even there. Like, it was smooth sailing. I was back to normal. I couldn't even think straight before that. But like once I got it done, it was like simple. Then my doctor comes in at around 11 a.m. and she checks my cervix to see how many centimeters dilated I was. And I was 3 centimeters dilated. Then she just told me like, we're gonna have to do the C-section. So we're gonna like scrub in or whatever the heck she said. When they're telling me this, I'm like choking up. I'm like, my eyes are getting watery and like I'm just like so sad. Like I really did not want one. So they left the room and I started bawling, like bawling. My boyfriend's there, he's trying to console me. And then my mom comes in. My mom, hello mom, if you're watching. All my life, she's been telling me about her C-section with both me and my sister. And she made it seem like it was the worst thing in the freaking world. And I felt like it was gonna be the worst thing in the freaking world. Having daughters especially, like I just know now, like to never speak badly about like what your body goes through, because that was traumatizing. I was just like thinking about all that, and she was like apologizing to me because like she realized the same thing, like, oh crap, like this is what I've been saying about it this whole time, and now we're here and my daughter's giving birth and that's what she has to go through, and this is what I put in her mind. They took me into the operating room. Michael couldn't come with me at first. I guess they had to open me up, and they don't want another person in the room while they do that. Before they opened me up and everything, I guess they did like this feeling test with me. So they took like this cotton swab or something like that, and like on my arm they said, does this feel like this? So because I had already had an epidural, so I shouldn't have had any feeling like in that region. They said, does this feel like this? And they put it on my arm and then my stomach, and from one side it was like, okay, I have no feeling there. On the other side, I had full feeling, full freaking feeling. When the first nurse was doing my epidural, I was telling her, I was like, I'm kind of, because like my bed was propped up, I was like, I'm kind of like leaned over a little bit. Should we like have me straight so, you know, it's like level? And she said, no, like you're fine, like we don't have to do that, like it'll be fine. Honey girl, no, it was not. It was not fine. So I had full feeling on the other side. And I was telling them like, no, I can feel that. No, I can feel that. So they look at my epidural, like where they put it in my spine, and they're like, we're gonna have to give you another one. I was like, girl, what? I've never heard of someone getting 2 epidurals during their delivery, their labor and delivery. Like, when does that ever happen? So like in my head I'm just like freaking out. I'm like, when the freak, girl? So they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to move it a little bit over because like you still have feeling on the other side. So at this point, like I'm bawling. I'm just like, okay. They gave me a second epidural. I am shaking. Oh my god, I'm like you would think I'm in the middle of Antarctica naked or something like that. That's how much I was shaking. They told me like, put your back out like a cat and like try to push your spine out. So I just had to like quiet my mind because I was shaking so hard. I've heard like that's a side effect of the epidural, but like it was too much. I had to quiet my mind and like my whole spirit, just be like, girl, shush. So I just like took one deep breath and let it out, and quieted my whole body, and like that stopped me from shaking. Oh my god, I don't know how, but it stopped me from shaking just long enough that they could put it in and take it out. So I quieted myself. They did it, and as soon as they took it out, or took whatever, you know, whatever they had to do out enough so that they could put the epidural in. As soon as that finished, I was back to shaking harder. It was so traumatizing to me because like I wanted a natural birth, and then like to come in and need Pitocin, and I wasn't dilating, and then I needed an epidural, and then I needed another epidural. Oh, like, I hope I never have to go through that again. My boyfriend, you know, he came in finally after they did all of that, and then they started opening me up, and it smelled like burnt, and I was so scared. Like, I didn't want to like put my mind into like a dark place, but like it was getting there. I was like, oh my god, like what if something happens? And I heard one of the doctors say like to the other doctor working with her, like, no, why'd you do that? I was like, excuse me? Why'd you do what? And I looked at my Kel, I'm like, what the heck? Like, no one wants to hear that when their body is opened up on a table. It was time for the baby to come out. The baby came out, kind of. I guess he was like so far up that like they had to pull him out. Like, they pulled him out, but then like his foot was still stuck or something. And so they were like tugging and tugging. I could like feel my body like shaking as they were tugging it. I'm just looking at my Kel like, what is going on? Because he could see. So they finally pulled the baby out, and he cried, and I got to see him. I couldn't hold him yet, which like really sucked. I wanted to do skin to skin right away. But you know, my Kel was able to follow him over and hold him and then bring him to me to see. After that, we went into the recovery area. I got to do skin to skin there and like breastfeed him and everything. That was my labor and delivery story. From then on, everything was fine. It was great. I struggled a bit with like actually looking at my C-section area. I didn't take my tape off until like 3 weeks after. I was supposed to take it off like week 1. It wasn't that bad. Just happy that it brought my baby into the world. So super happy with my new little family, my new little baby. He's sleeping. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe. Go follow me on Instagram. Everything will be in the link in my description. See you guys later.